The cold, harsh, metallic corridors of the alien warship stretched out before Captain Sara Caldwell. Her breath was steady, calculated, her every movement sharp, deliberate. The enemy, the Zaron Empire, had underestimated humanity before. But this time, they would learn why humanity was feared across the galaxy. A booming voice echoed through the intercom. "Human, surrender now or be obliterated." Sara didn't flinch. She simply whispered, "You should known better. We don't surrender." The Zaron Empire, a coalition of ruthless alien species, had dominated the galaxy for centuries. They had conquered world after world, enslaving countless civilizations, imposing their will on the stars. But one species, one planet, had stubbornly resisted. Earth. It all began a decade ago, when the Zarons first encountered humanity. They had been on the brink of invading the Terran system when they made a fatal mistake. They underestimated humanity's potential. They thought humans were primitive, that their wars, their tech, and their governments were nothing but a sign of chaos. They were wrong. The first Zaron fleet was obliterated in what the humans now called the Battle of Earth's orbit. It wasn't the firepower of Earth's weapons that won the day, but something far simpler: the will to survive. Captain Caldwell had been at the heart of that victory. Her squadron had engaged the invaders with a kind of savagery that left the Zarons stunned. They had never seen a species fight so desperately, so fiercely. Humanity's refusal to yield was not an act of defiance, but a core aspect of their very nature. When the Zaron fleet retreated, the war was far from over. The aliens thought they had made a mistake in underestimating Earth. What they didn't realize was that their mistake was far greater than they imagined. Earth was not just a planet. It was a crucible, a forge that had shaped humanity into something that could never be broken. The Zarons were no fools. They would not make the same mistake twice. They reinforced their fleets, and this time they sent their most elite warriors. The Draal, a species of hulking, four-armed brutes known for their brute strength and impenetrable skin. They were designed to crush civilizations with the power of a sledgehammer. But Earth was different. The Draal boarded the human homeworld, thinking they would easily eradicate the human resistance. What they didn't know was that humanity's spirit was not bound to its physical form. The humans had a weapon the Zaron Empire had never seen before: adaptability. Sara Caldwell had been part of the first generation of humans to face the alien invaders, and now she was at the forefront of the final battle for Earth. As the Draal rampaged through cities, the human soldiers adapted quickly. They crafted weapons that could pierce their thick hides. They created tactics designed to exploit their weaknesses: speed, precision, and agility. The war had become a brutal game of cat and mouse, but one that the Zarons were losing. The Draal were strong, but they lacked humanity's most potent weapon: ingenuity. Sara's voice crackled over the intercom as she coordinated the defense. "We've got this. Don't let them breach the outer walls. Hold your ground." Humanity's resolve was something the Zarons couldn't comprehend. Where other civilizations would have buckled, the humans rallied. The invaders were slowly being pushed back. But they would not retreat easily. The final strike came a week later, when the Zaron Empire, in desperation, sent its greatest weapon, the Exarch, a massive super-dreadnought capable of erasing entire planets. Its weapons could fire beams that disintegrated matter at a molecular level, and it was impervious to all but the most advanced human technology. This was it, the decisive moment. Captain Caldwell stood on the bridge of the human flagship, staring out at the approaching Exarch. She knew what was coming. This wasn't a battle that could be won with firepower alone. It would take everything humanity had. "Target its reactors," Caldwell ordered, her voice steady. The human fleet, still battered from the earlier skirmishes, had prepared a final gambit. They would hit the Exarch with everything they had, pushing their technology to the absolute limit. It was a suicide mission for most, but humanity was willing to sacrifice everything for their survival. Sara's squadron of fighter ships, including her own, was sent on a direct intercept course. The Exarch's shields were impenetrable, its weapons devastating, but humanity's greatest strength lay in their refusal to give up, even when the odds were impossible. The battle was fierce. The Exarch fired its devastating beam weapons, vaporizing entire swaths of human ships. But for every ship destroyed, another human fighter appeared, darting through the chaos with precision. They attacked in waves, drawing the Exarch's fire and giving the rest of the fleet a chance to maneuver. Sara's heart raced as her squadron was down to just 2 ships. She knew this was their final chance. If they didn't succeed, Earth would be reduced to ashes. "We can do this," she muttered under her breath, rallying her team. "We're human. We've survived worse." Her ship darted in close, flying dangerously between the Exarch's weapons fire. She could see the glimmer of the reactor cores, vulnerable if hit in just the right spot. She had 1 shot. "Now!" she yelled into the comms. The human fleet's remaining bombers launched their final assault, and Sara's ship flew directly into the line of fire, its wings barely skimming the Exarch's outer hull. It was a suicide run, but she had no choice. The bomber's payload hit the Exarch's core with the force of a small star, collapsing. The ship erupted in an explosion so intense that it lit up the entire battlefield. In the aftermath, the once proud Exarch was nothing but debris, and the remaining Zaron fleet retreated in disarray. Humanity had won, but it wasn't just the battle they won, it was the war. The galaxy would never be the same. The Zaron Empire, once thought invincible, was in ruins. Their fleets scattered, their colonies abandoned, and their soldiers fleeing in fear. And Earth stood victorious. Sara Caldwell stood at the podium in front of the gathered humanity. The scars of war were still visible on the faces of her people, but there was something else in their eyes: hope. "We have won," she began, her voice steady, carrying through the crowded hall. "But this victory is not just ours. It is for every civilization, every species that has suffered under the yoke of the Zaron Empire. And it is for every future generation of humans, who will now look to the stars with pride." Humanity had proven something that day, a truth that would be whispered in the annals of galactic history. They weren't just survivors, they were conquerors, born from the fire of their homeworld. They were the ones who would decide their fate, not the Zarons, not any other empire that dared to threaten them. "We are not just a species, we are a force," Sara continued, "and we will defend our future, no matter the cost." As Sara Caldwell walked off the podium, she allowed herself a brief moment of relief. The war was over. But there was something else she had to address. As she walked down the corridor, her second-in-command, Lieutenant Markson, caught up with her. "Captain, you might want to see this," he said, handing her a data pad. Sara took the pad, reading the message that had just arrived. It was from an unknown source, an encrypted transmission. The message was simple, direct. "We've been watching you. Prepare for the next challenge." Sara stared at the screen for a long moment. The war with the Zarons was over, but as she looked into the cold, unfathomable depths of space, she realized that humanity's place in the universe was far from assured. Something larger was coming, and humanity was ready. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more epic sci-fi tales of humanity's rise to power in the cosmos. The journey has just begun.